Welcome to another episode of Star of Play Football with myself, Theo, Basil, Kojo. How you doing?
Yeah, good man. Good.
You sound,
How you doing?
you both sound deflated. I'm all right. I got 3 points. I can smile shamelessly as well. Shamelessly, I'm gonna smile shamelessly. 3 points against Leicester. Hard fought out victory there. But as always, make sure you subscribe if you're new here. If you're not new here, again, we appreciate you revisiting the channel, or if you're listening on audio as well, revisiting on there. But let's start with Arsenal. Let's start with Arsenal, Manchester United. Only one place to start, really. Um, who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Who's the happier out of the two of you with either the who's happier? I feel like it might be Kojo, I'll be honest.
I'm in a good mood today. I don't know how Basil is feeling. I'm in a good mood. I'm all right.
Come on, Basil, speak up, man.
Honestly, I didn't even care. I don't even care, to be honest. I mean, the damage
Talk
was
to
already
me
done.
then. Let's go. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Now, honestly, the damage is done. I mean, the league was written off quite a while, I mean, maybe 3 weeks ago. So I guess the only thing I was hoping for was maybe a bit of a performance, which I knew I wasn't going to get. I actually thought that generally before this, I thought Manchester United would sneak a win personally. Because I already knew what kind of tactics Amorim was going to deploy, and I couldn't see a change in Arsenal's approach, which we see again. And the manager may cry, and like I said, all of this, majority of this, I'm sorry, is on the manager. The manager may
Yeah,
cry and all. And I'll say this: one of the biggest things I hate what pundits are trying is rewrite how the season's going, because what they're trying to do is blame the injuries. I'm like, no, no, no. Before the injuries, we were playing badly anyway.
yeah.
Like people were already complaining about Arsenal's style of play before the injuries came anyway. So now what the injuries has done is giving people an excuse to exonerate the manager. But it's down to the manager. Because as I said, even if you take away the players, it's the style of play. He still has his defenders. He still has his midfielders. He just cannot create anything whatsoever. It's the same. United were happy. It went out wide. Well, throwing crosses in. Easy for United to deal with. Not once did United have to think, oh, is anyone running off my shoulder? Or is anyone running in behind me? Like, rarely. So, like I say, apart from the Declan Rice goal, we rarely created any chances. I'll say United actually created the best chances of the game, to be honest. Just didn't take them. But yeah, it was one of those games where, once again, it's just a reflection of the manager and how the manager's just devoid of any ideas. And, if it was me personally, he'll be gone in the summer, because I think being there for 5.5 years, 6 seasons, is more than enough to do anything. And me saying this, I'll say this: this doesn't mean he's done a bad job. I can praise Arteta for the job he's done at Arsenal. I think he's done a very good job at Arsenal. The difference is that he's just not the person to take Arsenal over the line, which
Yeah.
isn't a bad thing. That doesn't mean you're a terrible manager. It just means that for winning things and crossing the line, you're just not good enough right now, which is the thing. And that isn't a bad thing. So if it was me, he'll be gone in the summer, because I don't think, with the amount of money spent, the amount of time he's shown that he's not capable of crossing the line in those key moments. But like I said, he'll definitely be there next season. But if he's there next season, then there's no more excuses, because then he'll be entering his sixth season and will be there. No, it would be his five and he'll be his seventh season actually. He'll be there
It's a
seven
lot,
and a
man.
half years.
It's a lot.
Seventh season at the club. So then at that point, you say there's no excuse. Amarin also put fun in his press conference saying, "Oh, I won't be given the amount of time as Arteta's been," which is also a slight dig at Arteta, that you've been given all this time. What have you? It's kind of, what have you achieved in a way?
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Because he's saying, like, basically, I need to achieve things. I won't get the amount of time he's had to not achieve things. That's basically what he's actually saying when you actually deep down dive into what he's saying. And it's true. Like, no manager will be given that amount of time to barely win anything during that time. But like I said, United had a game plan which stifled Arsenal, and fair
Yeah.
play to them. It almost worked, and it was the right tactic to deploy. I'll say this about United. My only worry is whether that will change next season. And I'm only saying this, we've said this many times, because of the players you have, I do fear a bit for United going forward over the next seasons if they don't get a recruitment right. Because yesterday was a reflection of just how poor of a team United are because of the player recruitment side. I mean, for me, I don't know what position he plays. He's not a striker. he wants to be a midfielder, but he's not a midfielder. I genuinely don't know what he is or how they're going to utilize him. Hoyland is really suffering from a lack of confidence. And then apart from kind of Bruno trying to do things, there's no one else who's really looking to step up to the plate. So
I
yeah.
thought Xerxes done okay yesterday. I thought he had a good game. I get your point though. I do get your point.
For a club like United, when they want to go, and this is what I say, and I said this because my brother supports United, and I said, and he was, Xerxes did well, but I'm like, why have standards dropped so much
Yeah,
that
no, I hear it.
it's been okay? Because at United, it should never be okay. It should be
it was the Rolls Royce.
you should be very good and above. And I think Xerxes looking okay is because everyone else is so bad. But then if you just isolate it, I don't think he's good enough for United. And I don't think United fans, personally, if you really want to get back to where you're going, should look at that and think he should be part of our future. Because I don't think he should be part of your future moving forward.
I already saw them on FM, Theo knows. So
maybe Kojo has a completely different view on Xerxes than I have.
Kojo, man, what do you think, man? I thought he had a decent game, but I get your point, Basil, that he is not the level that United need to progress back into the top four, challenging Premier Leagues, all that. I don't think he's the guy to do that. But Kojo, what do you think?
No, he was decent. But I mean, he's growing in confidence. You can see he wants the ball more. He's trying things a bit more, but he's not a no. I do agree. He's not a long-term solution to United wanting to compete for a title again within the next 3-4 years. This project, or was it Project 2028 trophy, whatever plan they have. He's not going to be that guy to take you there. It has to be a massive improvement between now and then for us to change our views. But this game isolated, he played well. Wasn't afraid to get into touches, tried to create things. We weren't troubled by Arsenal, and I say partly our side because we kind of knew. I think everyone knew they were going to try and control possession or that, but with the lack of a forward line, and with players like Trossard not being consistent enough, because you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you just have to sort of patrol your area a little bit, and just make sure that you restrict them as much as possible. And a lot of Arsenal fans' complaints were that line was deep. And it's like, well, but why are we in 2025 still complaining about this? If you are a better team, you can't expect the other team to come gung ho at you. They're not going to do that. It doesn't make sense. So if we're out of form, which we've been out of form for the last 2 or 3 years, and you're obviously, the title race might be done, but you're still second in the league. You're the better side clearly in terms of form, wherever you want to go, whichever metric you want to go through. Why on earth are we going to now tell De Ligt, Euro, and Lindelof, of all people, to now press all the way forward and do that? And this is what Amarim was alluding to in the post-match press conference. They kept on asking him, but why did you do this? And he's like, we want to control games. We want to do that in the future. That's the whole point. But right now, we're not ready to do that. But it's a work in progress. It's not hard to understand. And we just preyed on Arsenal's weaknesses as the game progressed. We started to get them a bit more confidence. When Arsenal realised they weren't going to break us down the way they wanted to through passing for what I think is too much acute football, and then the set pieces weren't getting pulled off, they were a bit clueless. Obviously, Rice scored a good banger. It was a good goal. But that's one moment in a game where they looked a bit lost and devoid of ideas. And then obviously once we started getting counter attacks, we started growing more confidence, and we should have bagged at least another one of them. We should have at the end of the day. Mazraoui, I think it's a good save from Raya, but it's still too close to Raya's body. But he's a fullback, it's a bit tough. I'm gonna expect him to be doing a striker's finish. You guys were so close to bringing Hoyland's confidence back, and then Rice and Gabriel said, "Hey, mate, not today, not against us, mate, not against us." I think for the first one, when Rice tackled him, I think Hoyland almost didn't believe that he was there because he took a touch and he slowed down. It's like, whoa, am I in this position? And then Rice clamped him, and then the second one, he actually got the touch first, and I think it's going to the right or Rice's left side. So I don't think Rice saves that, but Gabriel obviously got into the challenge as well. So you blocked him there. But promising thing is, at least he was in the positions. These days, he's not been in positions to get there. Now, Arsenal's problem, and I'm going to keep saying this week in, week out until they flip and sort it out in the transfer window, is buying players and using them in the position that they're supposed to be in. Calafiori, when I saw him starting at left back, I said he's not going to cause us an issue because he's not a competent left back. He can play there, doesn't mean he's great. I understand Tierney's got injury issues, so you're not going to give him 90 minutes. But when he came off the pitch,
left wing, honestly.
Oh yeah, that one I'm going to get into as well because that one baffled me as well. But the point I was going to make is even the fact that he's on that left side, you saw the cross that he put in for Trossard. Obviously, Trossard messed it up, but that's what a pure or natural fullback / wing back gives you because they have the ability to do that. They can find that pass. That's their job. Whereas someone like Calafiori, his first instinct, he's not looking like that. You saw the first kind of chance when he tries to cross it and it was poorly crossed.
Yeah.
Poor choices. And from there, these are the issues you have in positions where you sign players or you're using players where they shouldn't be. And Martin Skelly comes on, he's a midfielder, he goes straight to left back. And then you need to go, but you bring on Ben White. And then it's just making things hard for yourself. So, yeah, good day for us. We just needed the point, get out of the game, and completely now dent any sort of title dreams.
That was over anyway, man. That was over. It's over, man. It's been over.
But there's a difference between if you win your 2 games in hand, you're 7 points behind. But if you drop points and now you're looking at what's the gap now? 12
15?
points.
Is it 15?
15 the game
15. So if you win your game in hand, it's 12. That now they can say, well, are Liverpool gonna even drop any sort of points? Liverpool could potentially drop by 8 points, but they're not gonna drop 10.
Here's the thing. I was saying it to friends yesterday, and I said the biggest issue is Liverpool can lose all their games now to the end of the season.
Arsenal
won't win all their games. I said to my friend fans, I don't know why they're so being cautious. I'm like, you guys have won the league. I said because they're still trying to act with this militant cautiousness. It's done. I said the thing is Liverpool can lose every game from now to the end of the season. Arsenal won't go on that run and win every game from now to the end of the season, which is why I said it doesn't matter how many games they lose. Arsenal just aren't capable of capitalizing.
Yeah.
Basil, you know what Liverpool fans are good at, yeah? They're good at convincing people that they don't truly believe. Listen, they believe to each other. They're talking to each other.
Yeah.
They can't be like, oh. So when it is done, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We've won another one. No, shut up.
Exactly. If roles were reversed, Arsenal if roles were reversed, I'm saying hands down, we're winning the league. If roles were reversed,
100%.
The biggest issue I have with Arsenal, which is where I don't know why Arsenal fans are very confident. I say Arsenal fans need to be wary of that top 4 finish.
I was just about to ask you that. It's now in jeopardy, you know.
It's jeopardy because what people don't realize, and I was saying it to friends yesterday, and they were like, dismiss me. I'm like, no, because before that game, we were 7 points behind City. I think we're 5 points ahead of. How many points are we? I think we're 5 points ahead of because I think we're 4 points ahead of Forest, and like 5 points behind Chelsea, and then there's like 7 points behind Manchester City.
Yeah,
and a lot of Arsenal fans are dismissing the fact that Arsenal are in a top 4 battle because I'm like,
you are now.
It's close. And I'm saying like Arsenal, our attacking threat isn't really flowing like that to say we can go on and win every game. Because I'm like, we got Chelsea next week. If we lose to Chelsea, the gap is that close. And I was like, well, how much pressure does that put on you?
And it's not just Chelsea. It's Forest, like you said. It's City.
Newcastle, because if Newcastle win their game at the same points as City, there's a host of teams. What Arsenal have been so comfortable in second and been dropping points recently that they don't realize other teams have been picking up points and closing that gap slowly. So what Arsenal fans need to realize is that we're actually in a top 4 battle. And I'll record this to Arsenal fans, because what Arsenal fans forget is that I think it was in 2010 when we were doing the title with Arsenal and Manchester United when Man U won it. And for a long time, it was always Arsenal and Manchester United top 2. When it went into the last 2 games of the season, Arsenal were in a top 4 battle. It quickly descended from Arsenal being, it's just them and Man U going for number 1 and 2, to Arsenal just scraping a top 4 come the end of the season. And it could happen again if Arsenal aren't careful.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. And I think it's a fair point because I think sometimes you take your eye off the ball You know, when when you're chasing the title, you forget that, like you said, there's other teams that are gaining points, gaining momentum, picking up wins. Arsenal weren't looking behind them. Now they've got to look behind them because the pack is coming. The horse. I know it's Cheltenham this week, but the horses are coming now. The race has started.
First, because it's Chelsea next week, and
Yeah.
they are your direct
Big game.
for that position. And if Chelsea beat you, Arsenal are in a host of trouble. Because even a pundit
Yeah.
is saying, "Oh, yeah, Arsenal finished second." I'm like, nope,
Nah,
not with the form that we're in.
Not anymore. Do you know what's annoying though as well? So go on, Kojo.
So I didn't realize it was that close.
Yeah, it's close now. It's close. I looked this morning. What annoyed me about the goal that Fernandes scored was David Raya's position in goal.
Yeah, please.
I said it. Yeah, I said
We need
it.
to talk about that. We need to talk about
If
that because
as soon as the wall was set up, I was watching it with friends. I said it. I said Raya's too far. Raya's too far.
He's never going to save that.
Never. And I said, for certain free kick takers, you can take that risk. But I'm like, for certain free kick where you know they have the ability to score a free kick, why? You're basically saying just point to the position and you can score. I don't know why keepers shift so far ahead trying to dive, position yourself properly.
Yeah,
I think he put too much stock in how tall your wall was. I don't think he thought Bruno Fernandes could up and lift it. But what people forget,
he's got the quality though.
Oh, he's absolutely got the quality. But
I mean,
these days in football, people think it's either going to be hit under or hit lower. People forget top free kick takers also see the gaps in between the heads. They see the gaps in between the bodies. That's what he did. He didn't hit over your head. He hit right here. So it's gone in between the wall. And what baffled me by his positioning was watching it again and again. I don't know. Even if you have 7 foot guys in the wall, I don't understand why you put yourself so far in a position, because now when he's running, the fact that you're shifting over, it's too late for you to shift. If he had started in the position he was in when Bruno hit the ball that moment, if he started in that position, his dive gets his hand.
He saves it. He's got a better chance of saving it 100%. Because I watched it and I was thinking, he like makes that final sudden move towards the ball as the ball's being struck, but it's too late. Like the ball's already by the time that's already happened and he's moved over, the ball's in the back of the net, and I'm thinking, you could have just saved that if you just position yourself properly. And that is, I mean, he's a good goalkeeper. He pulled us some really good saves apart from letting that goal in. But when it matters, those are the things you've got to do. Because if you were going for the league still, imagine dropping points over something so stupid like that. And this is one of the reasons, not just the reason, but one of the reasons why teams don't win the league such, because they're just making stupid mistakes. Stupid mistakes, man.
We saw what Alisson has been doing for Liverpool this week alone.
Yeah.
When he's needed. Obviously minus the small ball goal. But when he's needed to be commanding, he's done it. When he's needed to stand out and make an important save, he's done it. And his positioning is almost perfect every time. That's the whole point. You can't, in a pressure situation, no matter what the thoughts are of the fans, maybe in your group about how the title race is going and what Liverpool are doing, you still have a job to do out there. You need to be on job every time, and that's poor. It was really poor. So yeah, I mean, it was a very good free kick, but Bruno Fernandes saw the gap and said, "Yeah, you've given me one hell of a chance." Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot easier. I don't know why keepers are going so far, and the fact you're having to shift across just before it's everything. Position yourself properly so you're not having to make so much movements to try and save the ball. I see it so many times. I don't know why they stand so far. But for me, it's like if I'm a good free kick taker, I'm like, you've given me the gap. I don't even need to put power. All I need to do is I can hit that ball. Placement, which is it. And in this position is the easiest thing a good free kick they can do, because when with placement, you can kind of take your time with the technique to get over the wall if you need to and into the goal. It's a lot difficult when the keeper's position, because it's like I need to add a bit more power to try and beat the keeper with pace, because if I don't, he easily gets there. So you make it a lot easier for them when you give them the gap, because like all I need to do is get over the wall, hit the target, and I have a good chance of scoring.
It is. It's a shame. It's a shame because it's avoidable. It is avoidable. Just before we move on from United, obviously, I know this happens a lot, but for some reason it was more documented before the game. But there was a big protest, I believe, outside Old Trafford against the Glazers. I know this is an ongoing thing with United fans, and like I said, I don't know why, but it was very much the sort of point that Sky wanted to make yesterday about the protest and all that before the kickoff. Do you think protesting? I mean, obviously Chelsea have recently been doing it as well. No, Arsenal have been doing it about the Cronkies as well. Do you think protesting changes anything? Do you reckon these owners are even listening to fans at this point now? For all our clubs, not
Glazers,
just for United,
the
Arsenal, Chelsea as
Glazers,
well.
I can tell you for a fact that Glazers ain't listening to Nike. I can tell you for a
Mm.
fact. I'm even sure they don't even know there's a protest happening in the first place. Honestly, they are, and that's not me discouraging fans from protesting, but for clubs like Man United who have owners who just genuinely do not care about the club, cash cow, never put any bit of money into the club, put all their debt onto the club, so much so that their type of takeover was banned like 3 or 4 years later after it happened. You just got United fans will never do it because the fan base is too big. If I don't know, this fan won't go, another fan's going to definitely go to a game if you're selling your ticket. You just don't attend games.
I've
Like
heard it before.
they need to see empty seats. They need to be like, "Rah, what? Why are they not turning up?" And then it becomes a very loud and clear message because throughout all the protests since 2005, since we have been taken over, there's been protests year in and year out, but the seats are always going to be full.
Yeah.
And they know that, so the money will keep coming through, and they've seen it where yes, United have been inconsistent since 2013, but they still had years where they finished second and they got into the Champions League. So to them, the
true.
money's good, it's fine. So all clubs, if you're deadly serious about I need my owners out and I don't want them here, you need to really hit them with it. You can really hit them. Don't buy merchandise. Don't go to games. You might obviously you want to see your team, but at the end of the day, there's a bigger problem at hand here. And the players are not stupid. They are very aware of what's going around. All they have to do is open up their phone and they can see everything going on. It's very easy to read. So, yeah, they just have to be very, very strict. I'm not going to Old Trafford for a long time. I'm a Maroon fan, and I really want to see him coach. But if I go to a United game, it's probably going to be away, and I wouldn't even be in the United fans. I'm telling you, I'm not paying for a United ticket.
I'm the same with
doing it.
Chelsea. I'm the same.
That's it.
I'm the same.
That's it. So yeah, that's as far as it goes. And yeah, you just have to be brave enough not to 10 games. But the fans will never do that. The clubs that want their fans to do that are far too big. Even Newcastle, when they were under Mike Ashley, that was the biggest thing they should have done, but they never did it. They still attended games. So, you just, they'll protest forever, but it will never change. The Glazers will only ever sell this club if someone genuinely gives them £10 billion. That's why they put that ludicrous fee on top of telling at this point, I think those Qatari guys we were talking to were AI. I don't believe they're even real. But imagine saying, okay, the club is worth 2 billion, but we want 10 billion. You know what they're doing? They don't want to sell the club because no one's going to pay that money.
Thing is, it's generating money for them. So as long as it's generating their money, they're happy. They're not bothered about anything. Arsenal's the same. Chelsea exactly the same. Like these owners now, and I've said it before, it's not a football club to them. This is business. They're making money. Whenever you're making money, you're not going to want to walk away from that. And if you do want to walk away from it, like you said, Kojo, I want 5, maybe 6 times what I think that the thing's actually worth. I'm going to make it so I profit from it. So the owners don't care, man. And I agree, not going stadiums, just not aiding the bullshit, really. Not giving your money to these people that don't really care about the football club. Arsenal's the same as well, Basil, I suppose. Kroenke's out is what everyone I hear when I speak to Arsenal fans. They're still on the side of the Kroenkes need to go, but
these Americans have thick skin. Like you need to understand the landscape of business that they've come from in their own respective countries. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So for them, it's like challenges means nothing to them. It just inspires them to kind of crush their opponents and get what they want and be at the top. So like I said, as Kojo said, people have been protesting for many years. If you think they really care, they don't care. Because as you said, as long as the money's coming in, you can protest till you're 90 years old. It won't make a difference to them whatsoever. And Kojo lose. Most of them are not even in the country anyway to even care. They're always in countries in America. So they probably look at it, social media, and say, oh, okay. It does nothing to. So
all the Glazers are living in Tampa Bay, having a great time. They don't care. They don't care.
If you're going to really protest, then it needs to have financial repercussions for them. It's the only way you're going to get them to listen. When they start losing money and the business is starting to impact them financially, then you'll start to see some kind of changes. But going outside, my thing is, I'm all for protests because I think sometimes protests, in a way, do work in small gains. So things such as maybe when you're protesting against maybe and price rises. Sometimes that might influence. Okay, let's freeze it for this year and then think about when we're going to do it. But if you're talking about protests and getting them out, stop wasting your time. unless someone's going to financially give them money to get them out, they're not going anywhere. So that way, you kind of need to find ways to work with them to help them understand more the landscape of football outside of business and and kind of how you want the club to run for it to be successful. Is kind of finding ways, which is difficult, to kind of have that interaction where they understand that, hey, we want better, we want to win. These are the ways we feel can help us kind of get to those goals, and try and educate them in that sense, where try and balance the business and the football side, because the two of them go hand in hand. If you're successful on the pitch, you make money. So it's about helping them understand that you need to put things in place to be successful on the pitch so you can make money.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100. And this is why I feel like a lot of the lower league teams, like I know, for instance, like Leighton Orient, just use them use them as an example, but they are very close to their fan base. Like they listen to their fans. They have forums where the fans can go and talk and voice opinions or voice frustrations or suggestions or whatever. And a lot of lower league teams do that, where they still have that real connection with their fans, and they have forums that they can use. Whereas obviously you get higher up the pyramid, you lose a lot of that. And I think because you have that disconnect between owner, fans, club, like they're making the money, the fans are getting frustrated. Some fans are frustrated in the stadium. I'm never going to understand that, because if you read, like you both said, if you really want to make a change, just don't go to game. Just don't go to game. But here we are. We'll be here in 20 years, like you said. We'll be here still recording the pod. You both might have lost your hair like me by that point as well. We'll still be recording, talking about protesting, I'm sure. So, but yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. If you're on YouTube, make sure you give your thoughts in the comment section as well. Forest, Nottingham Forest, Pep, Man City, 1-0 Forest. It was like a lot of people said, "Oh, this is a surprise result." I don't think this is a surprise at all. This is the City that we've seen all season. What do you think, Basil, about the fact that City seem to? I don't want to say they've been found out, but obviously they need a lot of recruitment in the summer. I think that's clear to see, or they need something to change in the summer. But can are City in danger of missing out on top four as well? We just spoke about Arsenal and Chelsea, but a City in that conversation as well?
They are 100% in danger. They've been in danger of missing out on top four for at least half of the season. Like people think, oh, we're in game week like 28, 29, and people are still thinking it's going to click with City. If it hasn't clicked by now, it's
too late.
very difficult.
Too late.
It's too late. The issue is, as you said, they need new players, but I think it's a mentality thing, because the drop. I mean, the players just don't seem confident, which for me is the most surprising thing about City. They just don't seem confident or have the belief that they can kind of do the things that they used to do. I mean, the final pass isn't there. Even just execute, just the belief that they can even score a goal sometimes just isn't there whatsoever. And that for me is the shocking thing. I think Pepper's checked out for this season, and I think that energy is is being felt by the players. Because sometimes with the players drop, you can still have the manager kind of willing you on and driving you and motivating you. But you can kind of see with Pep how he is on the sidelines, how he's in the press conferences, that mentally, and I don't know, and it could be mental fatigue, but you can see mentally he's drained, he's checked out. And I think the players are feeding off the energy, and you're starting to see it on the pitch. And I think that's what's gone with City. I think they can also pick up again next season. I think the players are still the same players. If you motivate them, they can still go again. It's whether you can do that. Obviously, they can bring in new players, but I don't even think that solves City's problems, because when City used to buy players, you're buying players, bring them with other players who are at the top of their game. And so when the new players came, they had to rise to the level of the other players. Even if you bring new players in, they're not right. You're not talking about them joining a team where everyone's at the top of their game. So how can those new players come in and adapt very quickly and be the main guys? You've seen it this season. Savinho, he's come in. You can say he has quality, hasn't risen to that level. Doku came in last season, hasn't risen to that level. The defender they bought hasn't risen to that level. Mamouche himself, he's looked good, but he hasn't looked He hasn't looked consistently sparkling.
Yeah.
They can bring in players. It doesn't mean they're gonna ultimately just transform City. So I think City may have long-term problems, if I'm being brutally honest, because they will no longer have those dominant players anymore. They'll have players who have ability, where you kind of need to give them time to gel, but they won't have that level of dominant players that they used to have. And I think that's open play for everyone to say, hey, we can compete with City now. We're all at a level playing field. So I don't think City will automatically come back to being the dominant force that they used to be. They'll be competitive, but I don't think they'll be the dominant force. So there's bigger issues at that club moving forward. But I'll finish off and say Forest hung in there, stuck it out, and like I said, made themselves very difficult to break down and then hit City on the counter. I mean, City have been defensively woeful, so it wasn't no surprise to me that they got the goal.
It wasn't a surprise at all. I think it was one of those performances that I think even Forest would have taken a point at that game, but they knew that the game was there to win, and they played really well. Kojo, what do you think? Obviously, they've signed is it Kuzenev in defense, who had a rocky start in defense for them. Marmoush looked very good. It seems to have dropped off, like Basil said. I don't think there's been a more bigger drop off from when they had like Leroy Sané. Then they went from Leroy Sané to Jack Grealish to Jeremy Doku. I mean, City almost recruiting backwards a little bit there. Like, it's crazy. And before, I'm surprised that a lot more people or press haven't picked up on the Jack Grealish thing last week. Because, well, I mean, not that I'm surprised, wrong word. I'm annoyed that there hasn't been more noise about that, because if that was Saka or Rashford, we already know what would be happening. So, what's happened to City? How does City come back from this?
First, Grealish, if you're part of a team that wins trophies, they tend to forget how nonsense you are. That's just, you know, the year that we won the title in 2011. Won the title. Rooney was horrendous that year. If anyone that remembers, he was shocking that year. But he's got the overhead kick, and everyone forgot how horrendous he was that year.
Yeah, true.
Regarding City, I think firstly, people are too scared to criticize Pep. The lineup to me was a nonsense. You've got Rico Lewis. Now, Rico Lewis is a young boy, but you've brought him into the first team. He's got about 2 years now in the first team. He's a right back, pure right back. Matheus Nunes, who is a midfielder that you brought in, has played left wing, left back, right wing.
I forgot.
And he played right back in this game as well. And poor Kusanov, who's come from genuinely nowhere, has been forced into centre back again. Now, what you could do is literally put Diaz and Vardio next to each other at centre back, because Vardio is also a natural centre back who's also done well at left back. I'm not gonna dispute that. Put Rico Lewis right back, and if you are struggling for a left back, then you can put Matheus Nunes there. Stop putting so much pressure on this young kid. You're killing him. You've been killing him from the first moment he came to the club. Now, that's the first one. Second one, their recruitment to me has been an utter bust. And Marmoush's hat-trick didn't sell me any sort of dreams. I'll tell you why. I still, to this day, do not know what that signing was for. If it was to pair him up with Erling Haaland has never played with a partner up front. So he's not used to that. When he had the link up with Alvarez is he's a forward. He plays as a 10, sort of, almost like a false 9. So he can do that. He can play as a striker. And he deputized when Haaland got injured. But there's some sort of understanding of his game that allows Haaland to be the forward 9. When Marmoush is there and you put Haaland on the same pitch, you put Marmoush on the left side. Genuinely, this is almost equal to Sven-Goran Eriksson, rest his soul, but he put who scores on the left wing because he needs to put all his midfielders on. That's a nonsense, right? So that's the second thing for me. The third thing, this rebuild, this is the first time he's actually had to rebuild a team. I'm telling you right now, he can't do it. I'm telling you, he can't do it. I promise you, he will not be able to do it. His signings,
you're actually right.
His signings are a nonsense, and you can see the way they play. And also, number 4, actually, I don't think City fans, despite the success they have, I don't think they understand what their players are supposed to do. I read from a major City page that they need to sell Phil Foden because he's not the replacement for Kevin De Bruyne. When would they even need the same type of player to be a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne? Kevin De Bruyne creates. Kevin De Bruyne can score from many angles and many distances. Phil Foden is a 1-2 type player. And if he scores goals, he cuts in and he hits it. He's never been a creator. Do you know your players? Do you understand your players? Or are you just riding? Are you riding the wave of, we got a great manager, one of the best in history, and he's signing this guy? I don't know how great he is, but hey, we'll use him. If Foden's come through the youth system, he's done great. Frauded his way to a Player of the Year thing, but there you go. Like it's utter nonsense, and people are afraid to call it out for what it is. People are more reveling in, Pep. So it was Pep. He's struggling. No, criticize everything that he's doing because he can't do it. He can't do it, and it's going back to the days where he had the interview maybe 2 years before lockdown, where he was like, "Of course, I need money. If you tell me to go and manage, he managed a team in the championship, I won't be able to do what I do now because I haven't got the money to bring in the players that I need to use. So obviously, I don't like the what's the term they use for managers that spend a lot of money?
Cash book. No,
cash book. Checkbook manager.
Yeah,
checkbook manager. That's him saying, he's a checkbook manager. He needs to go to the checkbook and buy players, and that was very evident to me when he came in his first year. Bought a whole backline. It fumbled, so he was able to buy another whole backline and rectify his errors. This has been coming. That club, we saw it with the ages of the players. We saw it with the players that they were signing. And when people were saying, they lost, what's his name? Rodri. So that's the reason why they're suffering. I'm like, well, before Rodri's injury, a week prior, you were all telling me that they've got the depth that you need. So when Rodri's out, you can put Gundogan in because he's back. And when De Bruyne's not there, Bernardo Silva, who, by the way, has contributed like 2 goals in 2 years. He's in worse form than Rashford. And Rashford's been on the bench. He's in as good as form as Mason Mount. And Mason Mount hasn't been seen. So, genuinely, we need to all cut the BS now. Not us, man, here. Everybody. Cut the BS. They don't know what they're doing, to be quite frank. They went into a meeting with the Premier League. They definitely got peppered there. They're making it look like their bus case. And then suddenly, in January of all months, they're spending over 200 million on players, half of them that no one knows. They've thrown one in, has no clue what he's doing, bought a striker from a club and thrust him to the left wing. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So when they don't make Champions League this year, I'm saying it right now. When they don't make Champions League this year, I want more of it called out. This is the beginning. You guys are saying now.
Because Kojo actually makes a great point that is sometimes overlooked. What they're trying to do is they're trying to do something kind of similar to Chelsea. Like Chelsea are buying all the young players and trying to build a young players that kind of can grow together and dominate. Kojo makes a great point is that Pep has never ever done a rebuilding job. So what's pity when they're trying to do similar things where they're trying to buy all these young players, have them all together and build them. But obviously, that's never been Pep's thing to kind of work with upcoming players or players with potential. Pep's thing has always been, give me players who are at the top of the game or close to the top of the game where I can take them there and we can dominate. So as a Kojo said, it's like they're buying all these young players. Pep hasn't got a clue what to do with them. You're seeing it. Jeremy Doku doesn't know what to do with him. Savinho doesn't know what to do. That's why they're in and out the squad. Kusanov is throwing him into the deep end. Like, you're looking at all these Mamouche, doesn't know what to do. That's why he's in and out the squad now. You're having these players who are not at that level yet, and you're asking Pep to do something he's never done before, which is work with emerging talent or work with potential. And this is what I think Pep is getting found out because he has no clue what to do with these guys. That's why they're in and out the squad.
No, it's true. It's true.
Like Barcelona, you think back, the fabric of his team was Iniesta, Xavi,
even Bayern Munich as well. All his teams.
Exactly. Went to Bayern Munich, Robben, Ribery, Lahm and co. Like I said, it was all stuff for him. He's come to City. The fabric, David Silva, Aguero, Company, De Bruyne, it was all there for him. So it was easy for him to come in and say, I can sprinkle my magic and do. Now you're asking him to work with these young boys who are potential. And I think, and as Kojo said, I think he will struggle with this next crop of players over the next 2 years, personally, if he's there for the next 2 years.
Exactly. He might not be there. Yeah, it's a good point. And I think it's a lot of things that Pep has to either try and get right. And this is why I think it was so strange that he signed the deal when he signed the deal. Me personally, I would have waited till the end of the summer and see what happened then. But maybe he knows that he's got a deal. Where does he go after City? Does he go to MLS, Saudi, the Spanish national job? Does that come up? So maybe he just thought, I'll buy myself another year or two, stay at City, and then hopefully the job that I want is available. The next job I want is available after that. But if Liverpool weren't going to win this Premier League, I would probably have Nuno. In fact, I will still have Nuno Espirito Santo as my manager of the year, of the season, because I think he's done an amazing job at Forest. Arne Slot will get it. But Forest, they're third. They're third in the league now. Their Champions League is literally their journey to the Champions League could be starting in a couple of months' time, man. Basil, what do you think?
Yeah, no, usually I would never be, because I've seen and I've heard in the past where people have tried to advocate for other in times they've actually tried to put managers who have just saved the team from relegation as manager of the year. And I was like, no, because they haven't been consistent over there. And usually for me, I've always been on the side that it should be the manager who wins the league, because they've been the most consistent if you're talking about manager of the year. But when you look at Nuno, where Forest were, what they've been doing, even some of the teams they've taken points off, they should be nowhere near that position. And that for me is that he's exceeded Slot, okay, cool. He still has the fabric of the players who can win in games. Slot's done a fantastic job where he has players that were capable, who have won the league before and capable. Yeah. Nuno hasn't had these players who have been anywhere near challenging for a top four. And they're battling it out for a top three position. That for me, he's gone far and beyond what he was supposed to do. And for me, you have to praise and say, well, as a manager, he's done a fantastic job with the resources and the players, because it's more or less the same players from last season, maybe one or two additions, but it's more or less the same players. And so for me, 100%, I would even go, if they finish third and Liverpool win the league, I would even side for Nuno Espirito winning manager of the year ahead of Arne Slot. What Arne Slot have done is fantastic. But at the same time, you look at, well, he still has the players who have won a league before and even challenged last season. So you could say they were capable. But this team, no one ever looked at them for, this team is capable of finishing in a Champions League spot. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I agree. Kojo, what you're saying, is it a case of other teams have been that poor that it's made Forest look better than they actually are, or are Forest actually as good as we think they are?
No, you gotta give them credit. I don't look at other teams. It's not their fault that other teams have underperformed, or whichever way you want to look at it. They've done their thing. They've found a system that's working for them. They're very direct. They create a lot of chances through different types of play, whether it's crosses, directly through the middle, through balls. They've got so many different ways of scoring goals. My favorite thing about them is that sort of defensive triangle of Matt Sells, Murillo, and Milenkovic is flipping solid. They're almost unshakable. They're so good in the air. They're comfortable with the ball at their feet. And there's excellent communication between the three. So when they concede a goal, it's why I've been screaming for a long time. If my team's going to concede a goal, I wanted them to generally be defeated. As in, they did everything in their power to stop the goals going in, but the team just did too much for you. And it's okay. I can't critique that. You tried your best. You're not making critical errors. They don't make big errors. And they've utilized Chris Wood perfectly. He's no longer trying to do just big man, target man up front. He's a poacher. He gets in positions and he's supposed to shoot and score. Simple as that. And that's why he's really got 17 league goals this year. It's a ridiculous record for him, because he's been here in the Premier League before. He's not a small boy. He's been here before, and he's not come there doesn't those numbers. So yeah, they've got a system that's working for them, and so I still would give it to him just because Nuno, the manager of the year, because I think when he got the job, myself included, I said Forrest made a mistake. I said he's gonna get you down. I don't believe him anymore. Yeah, because he did White Wolves, but obviously that crumbled. And when he went to Spurs, I mean, Spurs is a crumbling ship anyway, but he went to Spurs and, it was a nightmare. It was a disaster, to be quite frank. So when he came in, I thought, I feel like he needs to just maybe take another year out or go to another league, maybe just refresh. But he's got them playing excellent brands of football. So yeah, he's been fantastic for me. But yeah, you're right, Slot will get it, and I can't argue against Slot. First season in the league, in it, so first season of champions, it's not terrible. So yeah, but shout out Forest, man. They deserve to be where they are, 100%.
Yep. It is tight in the top four spaces. Chelsea were able to get 3 very good points against Leicester. Tough game. I'll be honest. Listen, I was watching the game, and you just think there's going to be a Leicester goal here somewhere.
I
We
think
weren't
so
play.
too.
We didn't kill the game, and I think when you don't kill games, and we haven't done that all season, we haven't been scoring 6 or 7s. So that was always on my mind that Leicester are only one Jamie Vardy sprint through our defense away from a draw here. But it was a good performance overall. I think there were massive holes in it throughout the individual sort of sub low, below the par sort of performances. Cole Palmer, I'm glad that Maresca's finally woken up a little bit and realized actually Cole Palmer isn't playing at his best, so he needs to be subbed off and Tariq George comes on. Correa I thought was brilliant. I thought Fernandez and Caicedo more so Caicedo, because if he picked up a yellow card yesterday, he would have missed the Arsenal game. He would have, and the Tottenham game. He would have accumulated 10 yellow cards. So it was a good performance. It was one of those like dirty performances that if it means we get top 4 based on those kind of results, I'll take them. But the Bozo in goal, can't see him again. We can't see.
Come on, give him credit.
No,
He
no,
can't
no,
even
no, 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 no.
more like the manager because he's been daring, so the manager can give him grace to go back in goal. I mean, new hairstyle, new Sanchez.
New hairstyle, new Sanchez.
You know what's worrying though? The manager came out. This is why I think there's I don't know if it's like a mixed message that he's just putting out into the press, and you guys have picked up on this when we was talking about the title race thing a couple of months ago. But he came out only recently and said that Sanchez is now the cup goalkeeper. Jurgensen is now the Premier League #1 starter. So to not see him in that lineup yesterday, it kind of, which one is it? Is he the cup goalkeeper or is he now back in contention to be #1? It's just weird. I don't get that. So maybe, but he's not good with his feet. He's not good distributing the ball out from the back, which is what Maresca wants his goalkeepers to do. Yeah, it's not good, man. It ain't good. Positive, Wesley Fofana, 75 minutes in the tank. Done some good mileage yesterday. Good to see him back in the team. But we come up against Arsenal, like we keep saying, next weekend. We can't play like that against Arsenal, Tottenham. If we're realistically trying to get top 4/top 5, we cannot play like that at all against a better team. Playing in 80 minutes in, 90 minutes in, we got a corner. We're playing keep ball in the corner against Leicester. Nah. They conceded 12 goals in their last 4 games.
Yeah.
Nah. What do you both think? What was your thoughts on Chelsea's game? Was it just a case of Leicester were just Leicester and Chelsea were just being Chelsea?
I don't know what to make of you guys anymore.
Yeah, so
As in, it's weird watching Chelsea now. I just don't know what to make of you guys anymore. I don't.
Welcome to my world.
Your performances are so weird. Like, I know every team has a spell here and there in games, but there's having spells, and then there's just like an uncertainty, and it also creates an uncertainty in the opponent because sometimes you can watch Leicester. Like, I didn't expect Leicester to win this game at any moment, to be quite frank. But even in the moment where I didn't expect them to win, I was like, Chelsea's going to give them something here. Not them earning it. Are you going to give them something? I don't know what it is with your team that's just not clicking. Something's gone off. And
I know what it is.
Go for it. You go for it.
It's the manager. I think what we're seeing is a reflection of how he was at Leicester.
Yeah.
It just seems to just
so like a repeat of what happened before.
Yeah, if it just fit because when you look at Chelsea, they don't. That's it. Remember at the start of the season, we were looking. Oh, the football's great. Maybe they're not taking their chances, but we kind of see what they were trying to do and trying to play. And obviously, we can say from an attacking sense, it was good to see. Even now, from an attacking sense, it's not really that great from Chelsea. It's not controlled, and it just reminds me of how he was at Leicester last season, where they started off so brightly. People praised him for how Leicester were playing. They accumulated so many points, and then they faded badly at the end of the season. And I'm seeing that where they're fading performance-wise because they're just getting by. Because, like I said, you played quite a few in recent weeks, lower half teams, and struggled performance-wise against them. And I think it's indicted on the manager. I think this is what Maresca needs to solve next season as to how do I get my team performing for the whole season? Because that's the only way you're going to win anything. Doing it consistently across the whole season, not just for parts of the season. And I think that's what Maresca needs to figure out very early on. how do
Yeah.
I continue to get the players performing over the season? Because same as you, Kojo, when I saw it, I was like, I don't know what to make of Chelsea. That's the thing. I don't know what to make of them.
It is hard to put your finger on what I mean, Maresca for me is a big problem. It goes back to what I just said about his sort of doesn't really understand what his best 11 is, and that's down to potential injuries. But even when you a full fit squad, I still think he would struggle to get the best out of his team. I just don't. There's nothing that you don't go into a Chelsea game now with confidence, whether it's Leicester, anyone, in the top four. You don't go into them games with that sort of level, especially at home, that level of confidence that you're going to win. And
Yeah.
it's just I said it in a group chat, I was in a separate group chat. I said I woke up yesterday. I thought we might actually lose to Leicester. I said I've got a funny feeling they're going to give us a game, or we're just going to scrape by, because you just don't know what's going to turn up at Chelsea. Kojo, Cole Palmer was raved about last season, rightfully so as well. Had a really good season. Had a very
Yeah.
good start to this season, but he's dipped. He's dipped massively now. Is it a case that Maresca should be, listen, son, go and sit on the bench for a game or two and bring in someone like Tariq George, the youngster, who can play very well. He's got four assists this season so far, Tariq George, some in Conference League, some in the Premier League. But is this now time for Tariq George to step in for someone like Cole Palmer?
You can't be afraid to drop him. I don't know if George is the solution or like a short-term solution, because obviously when Palmer's out, knowing football fans, the pressure will be on whoever goes in his place to go out there and do his thing. But yeah, he's dipped severely. He's dipped badly. And I think 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were on here, I was saying that, when he gets the ball, the team's kind of looking at him to do something, and there were statues. That's one side of it. Now we've gone from that to you just are making silly errors with the ball rather than the team not helping you. And maybe he does need to sit out. The thing is, a lot of managers are obviously scared to drop key players. They're always scared to drop key players unless it's like a really heavy solution to the problem. But you guys don't have that because he's your standout. But
is he though? This is what I'm saying. Is he still the standout? I don't think he is. I don't think he's played well for the last 10 games.
He hasn't, but he's still the standout because he's still known as the most dangerous sort of Chelsea player. As in, he's got the ability to do something out of nothing. The ability hasn't gone, but obviously the form is what's most important, and he's not in form. So that's why when I say most dangerous, that's why I refer to. But his pickup, I'm going to put it like this: no, you got Chelsea in the league next. So no, sorry, you got Arsenal in the league next. So he's going to play that game. If he doesn't perform in that game, next game you got to drop him. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But I blame the manager, because if we compare it to the Arsenal situation, we have Odegaard, who hasn't been performing for a very long time. But the issue with Arsenal is that there's no alternative, so we kind of have to play him week in, week out. The difference at Chelsea is, and I blame the manager for this, is that you have the players there who have the ability to rise to that level. They're not doing it consistently. And that's on the manager in terms of not working with them properly, not integrating them properly into the first team, not coaching them to improve them. Because like I said, when you look at the players Chelsea have, you guys should be able to be happily drop Cole Palmer for a game or two to say, hey, you need to keep your game, because of the ability that the players you have at your disposal is there. So you should have but then that's on the manager. I'm like, you can't have someone playing that badly for that long period of time and be fearful of dropping him, regardless whether it's your best players or not. The goal should be, we need to win. If you're out of form, bring in someone else to hear you, try and do it. And obviously, it's not even a thing of you're dropping him. It's just like, hey, you just need
he needs a rest.
You need time out the team. Because I say he's playing more or less every game of every minute of basically nearly every game. So of course, yes, you're going to see some kind of drop off at some point if we're playing him every game, every minute in the league and in the FA Cup. But I blame the manager, because you have the alternatives to kind of switch things up, but he refuses to do that. And not even just with Cole Palmer, even with other players, he just refuses to use your squad properly. At least with Pep Guardiola, you've seen it with Pep Guardiola in the past. He uses his squad. If there was games, De Bruyne on the bench, you're on the bench. Actually, most times not. It's like Foden. Even if Foden's playing well, hold the bench. Bernardo Silva, bench. Mahrez could have 2-3 good games. Needs to go on the bench, go on the bench. Because he's not afraid to use his squad. So at least then when it's time for other players to come in and perform, they say, hey, they know they have to prove themselves to the manager. So I kind of blame Maresca there a bit.
I do as well.
Can I add on to that? I think you need to change your system. I don't think 4-2-3-1 works. So what he played? What Sancho, Palmer, and Cuckoo and Neto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Personally, I would bring Lavia in. And
He's injured though.
He was on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's just come back from a long-term injury though. I don't think we could play him. Okay. I wouldn't play him against Leicester or Arsenal or Spurs.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Fair. Okay, I can allow that, but regardless, I still think you need to change to either 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder, because I mean, Caicedo and Enzo weren't bad yesterday, of course, but the struggle those two have been particularly in big games, and you don't want to partner those two together by themselves. Well, I guess Arsenal, because I mean, yeah, Arsenal have not been in great form, but at least they, like Basil said earlier today, they've still got their base of the midfield and the defense. Yeah. So that's a battle that you can still comfortably lose. I think you need someone holding there, whether that's Caicedo to be the guy because he's a lot more disciplined, and you put someone else next to Enzo Fernandez, or you can think of another alternative to play there. That's the first one. And then I personally would cancel the Jadon Sancho project. Now the problem you have is we've got
to sign him anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're United putting that silly clause of if you finish 14th
or above, we sign him for like 40 million or something.
Yeah, as if Basil didn't know.
yeah, we've got to sign him because
United bamboozled you guys.
Yeah. All right, listen, they're getting us back for the Mason Mount thing. I get it, I hear it.
Yeah, to be fair,
the touche moment for the clubs, isn't it? Like,
so yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing, because I didn't see him in the squad. I was trying to check your injuries earlier this morning. I didn't see him on the list, so I just want to ask. Because I saw Fofana play right back. Where's Malo Gusto?
Injured. He got injured on Copenhagen last week. Foot injury. So he's out. But the thing is, I think the whole thing Maresca's trying to do, he wants to bring Reece James into the midfield. He's already come out and said that. He said it on Thursday. He's done it a couple of times where he inverts it.
What? Oh, as in he wants to start right back but invert in, or he wants to be an actual midfielder?
No.
Big midfield against Copenhagen.
Yeah, he played in the midfield.
He even said, like, I spoke to him, I see you as a midfielder. So I think...
Yeah, I can't lie. Sack him. Done. Sack him.
And do you know what, though? Kojo, I get it a little bit, because if you want to keep Reece James injury-free next season, you're going to have to adapt his role. He can't play right back. He can't play right wing back. He could potentially play as a right centre back. Yeah, but he played there for Wigan. He played in the midfield for Wigan when he was on loan.
He's Chelsea, bro.
Nah, do you know what? I get it a little bit. I get it. If you want to... So, for me... It only works, like you said, if you change things tactically. You can't have like him as a holding midfielder alongside Caicedo. I don't think it worked on Thursday. It was Copenhagen, and they actually gave us a decent game. Like they're top of their league. But I think you have to change things tactically, and you have to find a role for him because he's the only one that's got a little bit of leadership about him on the pitch. You got to see on Thursday, and then we kind of missed that yesterday. So I kind of get it a little bit. But at the same time, I'm still on this sort of, I'm looking at Maresca with the side eye emoji right now because I'm not sure what's going on here. Like we spent 1.6 bill and we're throwing Reece James into the midfield and we still don't look convincing. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm sick of talking about my club. I'm going to move on. I'm going to ask you for your predictions very swiftly. I'm going to ask you for your predictions for tonight's game before we wrap up. We've got West Ham, Newcastle, I think tonight, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Could be a good game. Basil, I'll come to you first. Prediction, very short and sweet.
I'm going to draw 1-1.
Okay. Any goal scorers, or are you just leaving it out for interpretation?
I don't know the scores, but I'm going 1-1.
Kojo?
3-2 Newcastle.
We want a goal fest.
Yeah, I want a goal fest, man. It's a Monday night. The local fans are going to be walking around shining irons just for fans. But I think you're going to see Bowen Isaac on the score sheet for sure.
I agree. I think Newcastle. I reckon Newcastle can get a win. I'm gonna go 2-1 Newcastle. I think they'll get the win.
Okay.
I think they'll get the win. So we'll have to see. Obviously, they've got the big cup final coming up as well next weekend. So that'd be interesting. Can they do it? Can they do the unthinkable? We'll have to talk about that next week. But Kojo, Basil, thank you very much as always. Pleasure joining the pod. I enjoy these little moments on a Monday, man. Especially after this morning. Especially after this morning, even more so. I'm awake now. I'm a bit more happier. So appreciate that. Don't forget, if you're new here, subscribe, like the video, all of that good stuff. We'll be back soon. Don't forget to subscribe. We're out, man. We're out.